Well, I think it's very sad that it takes a death of an American hostage to change course, but I do think that it will change the course because his parents have been very, very active. They spoke at the Democratic National Convention. They met with President Biden and Kamala Harris. They met with the Pope. They met with every single leader they could to try to get their son and the other hostages back home alive. Hersh was alive until the Israeli army came to rescue him and the others. So Hersh could have been home, safe and sound, had the Israeli Prime Minister allowed for ceasefire negotiations to take the course they should have done. Negotiations for a ceasefire are complex, and it requires a compromise on both sides. And agreements had been reached. And every time an agreement was reached, he changed the Israeli requirements. He added requirements, and he continues to lie about it. And today he gave a speech, and I read the speech, and mind-boggled. This is that this is not the way things had taken place. And for those of us who are also in touch with the other, close touch with the other mediators, the Qataris and the Egyptians, we know that this is not the way that the ceasefire negotiations should have ended. They should have ended a long time ago with an agreement, and by now with all the hostages home. Many of them have died, and many more will die if Netanyahu stays in office. Netanyahu's position is volatile, but he has managed to stay in power for the past 11 months. So the problem with the Israeli system, is that it's very easy to elect a prime minister. It is very difficult to get rid of one if he has a majority in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. And out of the 120 seats in the Israeli Knesset, Netanyahu's coalition comprises of 64. And unless some of the Likud ministers or other ministers will be willing to vote no confidence in the prime minister, then he's going to stay in power. So I think this is an earthquake. This isn't just, one more step in the war. It's 6 very young hostages that were in relatively good health, according to the preliminary examination after their bodies were brought back. They were all shot in the head moments before the Israeli army would have arrived to try to rescue them. They were frail, but their bodies had not shown any other sign of trauma other than the bullet in their head. I think you're going to see massive protests in Israel. The vast majority of the population is going to call for an end of war, end of occupation, return of the 101 hostages, which includes dead and alive hostages, many dead, unfortunately, and a change of government. They're going to call for Netanyahu to own up to his responsibility, to stop lying to the public, and to step down. Netanyahu is not going to step down from office voluntarily. It's the responsibility of the international community to support the Israeli public that is fighting for democracy alongside the war, and very rapidly and very, very smartly